Dan King is my former fiancé, and he isn't dead, Quinn whispered. She sat next to Fred, her current fake fiancé, on his couch, the window behind them a beautiful view of Central Park from Fred's penthouse apartment. She reached for his hand, but Fred moved his hands into his lap, his fingers balled into fists. "He's alive?" Fred asked, his tone icy. "And you didn't think this was something you needed to tell me?" Quinn couldn't believe how upset Fred was with her. He looked ready to smash a window. Is he jealous? Quinn wondered to herself. Fred's wounded expression brought her back to reality. "I mean, our engagement is fake," Quinn defended herself. "I don't need to tell you every detail about my past." "A former fiancé's life or death status is a pretty huge deal to overlook," Fred snapped. Quinn reached out for his hand, but then thought better of it and put her hands back on her lap. "You're right. I'm sorry." Fred wanted to be mad at her, but this was a unique situation for them both. Fred knew that yelling at her was not the answer, especially when it came from his own jealousy. Fred reached out and took her hand into his own. "Tell me about him," Fred asked. "What happened between you and him?" "You want to know about Dan?" Fred nodded. Quinn looked away from him, but Fred could see she had tears in her eyes. "He was my first real love. I thought we would be together forever, but we were too young. We were only officially engaged for a year. He left me while I was pregnant over some stupid argument. He never got to meet Denny and Sammy. He would have loved them. He loved children. I still cannot believe that he abandoned us." Fred's anger dissipated when he saw how upset Quinn was at telling him this story. "That's horrible." It was. But Dan also led me to my career as a doctor. "How?" Fred asked. "He was in this horrible car wreck down one of those winding country roads upstate. We had just gotten together. He had bleeding in the brain from the impact of the crash. He only survived because they had a neurosurgeon at the hospital. I felt so helpless. I hated it. I wanted to be the one to save someone next time." Fred squeezed her hand. He couldn't believe how generous and kind-hearted Quinn was. "You're a wonderful doctor. He has missed out on so much with you and the kids." "You really think so?" Quinn asked. Fred nodded. He stood up and pulled on his coat. He held out his hand to Quinn. "Come on, let's pick up the kids from school." Together? In front of the teachers? Quinn couldn't believe he wanted to do something so public together. The other parents and kids would see them. "I know, but it will be nice to show the kids a united front," Fred assured her. "And I miss the kids." Quinn forced a smile. Later, Quinn and Fred waited in the pickup line outside school, the line of parents wrapped around the front of the school to around the block. Fred nodded hello to other parents as they passed by with their own children. A little girl in pigtails waved to Quinn, who was standing next to her mom. Quinn waved back, and Fred did too. Fred stood near her, but didn't make it obvious they were together. This feels so nice, so normal, Quinn thought to herself. Maybe this could be real after all. Maybe I will fall in love again. Fred's voice shook her from her thoughts. I think we should treat Jake to a special afternoon with us. Denny and Sammy can stay with Nora for the afternoon. We will drop them off after this. What do you think? Quinn's heart soared in her chest. Finally, a chance for some alone time with Jake, who she suspected to be her firstborn son. That sounds perfect. We can take him to see the swans in Central Park and grab hot dogs from a street vendor. Oh, wait, does Jake like hot dogs? Quinn asked. Fred laughed. He loves hot dogs. What kid doesn't? Principal Peterson waved to them when they finally reached the front of the line. Hello, good to see you both. Principal Peterson turned and yelled to the open door behind them, where a crowd of kids was waiting for their parents to pick them up. Danny and Sammy Murphy? Oh, and Jake Smith, Fred told the principal. Jake was picked up earlier, the principal stated matter-of-factly. Fred's stomach dropped to the floor. What do you mean? He was checked out early, the principal told Fred again. Quinn squeezed Fred's hand. Danny and Sammy ran up to them. Mom! They shouted and wrapped their arms around Quinn. She held them tight. Hey! Quinn knelt to their height. Have you guys seen Jake today? Danny shook his head. Not since lunch. Sammy bounced beside him. I didn't see him on the playground either. Fred tried to remain calm, but his heart was beating out of his chest now. Checked out by who? I didn't authorize that, Fred said, his voice rising on each word.
Hi, Quinn here, and if you're wondering what happens next, click on the link in the description to listen to the full audio series. You can also watch the next episode here in the playlist.